It's really easy. If you are trained, I mean, we're not going to do this to a guy who's never touched weights, but if you got a couple years under your belt, you've done some semi-serious training. If you were to take 85% of your 1 rep max and let's say a squat and go to failure, how many reps can I do with 85% of my 1 RM? That's going to give you a good idea. I can't knock out very many at 85% of my 1 rep max. It's just not going to happen. I know other people who can sit there and do 10, 12, 15. And all that says is their max isn't very high, but they can, 85% of it, they can just knock out. Guys who are fast twitch dominant have a higher max, obviously, but at 85%, they're still done. You can still only knock out about 3, 4, 5 maybe, doubt so. The idea of frequency comes up quite a bit in training. Well, how frequent should my training be? If we're talking more on the performance side of things, we really want to try to manipulate how many times we can get in the gym or train our specific sport. If we're talking health, for health reasons, this isn't really going to come into play a whole lot. But when you're talking about training, the thing that's going to limit you in your frequency is not going to be muscular, because muscle will regenerate and muscle fiber will recuperate pretty quick. What we're really talking about is the nervous system recuperating. This just gives an idea. This is from Charlie Francis via Dan John. First time I went through there, not Dan French, that's another guy. But what happens is, if we do very, very explosive work, let's say sprints, for instance, at 100% effort. Let's say heavy power cleans, heavy power snatches, things of that nature that are super explosive and super taxing on the nervous system. I might not even get sore from that, or a trainee might not even get sore from doing that kind of stuff, but they will be wiped out the following day. Well, why are they wiped out? It's because the nervous system is freaking smoked. Now, can I train the following day after doing that? Yeah, certainly I can. Psst. I can do isolation work. I can do a little bit of upper body work, lower intensity stuff. So I can train just about every day if I'm smart enough and I program right, and I can cycle these things through. What I'm not going to be able to do is come back and do another explosive session. Probably not for a few days. This is very N=1 when we start talking about this. But just in general, you're certainly not for the next couple of days going to be able to repeat that. If you do, then you're going to dive off the cliff and you're going to be on that strength and performance curve way on the other side, having fallen off. Force velocity, something else that you want to think about when you're manipulating your workouts. This stuff here can be easily done with just about in any gym. So for speed work, and this really should be overspeed stuff. For instance, running at a slight decline, right? Overspeed work. Taking a swing with a lighter bat, lighter golf club, we're really emphasizing speed work. Strength speed, normal sprints on a level ground, for instance. Power work, we're talking power clean, power snatch, traditional Olympic lifts. Speed strength, you can take the Olympic lifts, raise a weight such that the bar speed slows down a little bit, just a bit. So now you're doing high pulls and things of that nature. All of this stuff can be done in a traditional gym. But what is very, very hard to hit is right here, maximal strength. And the reason it's hard to hit is, do you really ever tap into that? So traditionally, we've been able to train in a strength and conditioning environment. We've been able to train with chains or bands on the bar to be able to force an extreme effort throughout the entire strength curve. But that's it's cumbersome, it's time consuming, and it's inaccurate in a way is I can't I can't precisely weigh these chains perfectly to match my strength curve. If I could do that, what I would come up with is an ARX machine, because that's exactly what the ARX machine does. It maximizes a force output that you can develop throughout the entire range of a motion. And we'll get into this in just a little bit, but because we'll actually do a demonstration up here with the home version of that. Force velocity curve, this is coming back to the power output. In my opinion, whether you're training on an ARX, whether you're training more traditionally in a bodybuilding fashion, any type of training, it's my belief, and it's from what I've seen in the field for many, many years. If we can maximize the power output in any one area, that is an effective repetition. So if I could leave you guys with one thing, that would be it. How do you want to maximize each repetition? It would be a very, very controlled descent, maybe 1,001, 1,002, 1,003, an explosive positive. That's pretty much what I call the perfect repetition. And the reason I do that is to try in every exercise, no matter if it's a bodybuilding isolation exercise or no matter if it's power clean, something like that, I'm trying to maximize power output with each stroke. That, if you can do that, that's going to minimize the amount of time that you spend overall in the gym. It's going to be able to get you in and out a lot faster than spending 2.5 hours every day in the gym. If you can try to hit that with every exercise. And I think that's about it. I'll take questions now. I'm sure there's probably some questions. I threw a lot of stuff at you guys. Each one of these ideas I threw out at you, I mean, that's a rabbit hole. That's a whole other 2 hours that we can go down. I mean, this is just tip of the iceberg overview, just to give you guys something to think about.
In trying to determine whether you're more toward the fast twitch or the slow twitch, I find that with something like squats, I could probably do the 10 times at the 85%, but with something like bench press, I can do maybe closer to the 3 as opposed to 10. So how would you determine? Yeah,
so it's not uniform throughout the body. I mean, and that's just an indication, right, or a just kind of a guide, right? Because everybody is that way. No one's going to fall perfectly like that. And it could be that you really haven't tried pushing your max squat up too. So do you really know what your max squat is, right? Most everybody knows what their max bench is, right? Because everybody's bench press savvy, right? But Monday is National Bench Press Day, right? So everybody knows what their bench press max is, right? So I would assume that you're probably more fast twitch oriented. You just haven't tried pushing your max squat up yet.